It is 12 noon. It's hour number 3 of the program. Thanks for tuning us in on this Taco Tuesday. We're live at Social Taco. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. Get an opportunity to stop on by, say hello. Already had some listeners, brand new listeners to the program, stop by and say hello on their way in and out of town. So you can join us just like everybody else does on Tuesdays from 10 until 2 right here on Jocks. Just some of the headlines at this hour. Then a lot of previewing of the Oklahoma-Alabama game coming up on Friday night. Bama, a slight favorite according to Vegas, a 1-point favorite. Meanwhile, the over-under is 40.5. Don't forget you got a triple header of the college football playoff coming up this weekend on Saturday. Only one of those games is not going to go head-to-head against an NFL game, and that's why Miami and Texas A&M are playing at 11 o'clock in the morning, because there will not be a conflict with an NFL game, because NFL games will kick off a little bit later in the day, because that's when Tulane and Ole Miss will play at 2:30, and at 6:30 it'll be James Madison at Oregon.
Our next guest is the coach, Bill Clark, and he is presented by our friends at Donahue Chevrolet.
Coach Bill Clark on Three Man Front is brought to you by Donahue Chevrolet. Learn more at DonahueChevrolet.com. And now, Coach Bill Clark.
And Coach Clark joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Coach, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing wonderful. Getting ready for the bowl season to crank up. I guess officially it cranked up on Saturday, but we get a good in-state matchup today. And I know a lot of people excited about the matchup coming up in Norman on Friday. For Kalen DeBoer, the distractions, the talk of him potentially bolting from Michigan, how much of a distraction can that be for a team in preparation for a game of this magnitude?
I think a little bit. And I think as a coach you want zero distractions. But, I would also say this is a different world. People are coming and going more than they obviously ever have. Coaches, players. I think he's addressed it, I know he's addressed it with the team multiple times. And if he's really, the key is he truly not looking at all? And players are going to know that. When I say absolutely 100%, I'm here with you guys. And so he could end it for them pretty quickly. We weren't in that meeting, so we don't know exactly how that was addressed, but it sounds like he's tried to comment to that, so to end that speculation.
Coach, we spend a lot of time on the Bill Clark Show each week on the program, and you kind of walk us through the coach's mindset, especially during the valleys and peaks of a football season. And Alabama looked like a team that was tired, beat up, and injured in the SEC championship game. How important and crucial has the last 10 days been for this Alabama football team to kind of rest and kind of get a reset both mentally and physically?
Yeah, you can't even describe how important it is to get some physical and mental rest. I mean, there's just there's no way to quantify it. And I tell you, when you get a few guys beat up and they're in the wrong spots, whether it's your quarterback or your running back, there's got to be some luck involved. I heard Andy Reid talking about the other day. I mean, you got to have fortune. And so to be fortunate now, we can talk about physical therapy and nutrition and all those things that keep kids well or players well, but still comes down to some luck. I think if team needed a break, it was Alabama.
Coach, Brent Venables, he's tough as it is as an offensive coordinator to try to match wits with, but a second time around in the same season, from the Alabama's perspective, from Ryan Grubb, what are you looking at in trying to counter some of that of what they're going to see in Norman on Friday?
Well, gosh, how many times have we talked about playing somebody the second time? And you won, you stay with what you did. You lost, you're changing it all. And, and I can think about doing that, when I had to play a team in back-to-back weeks. We became, we were two totally different teams. Our mindset, everything we did. And so, I think there's going to be some of that from both sides. Do I keep this? Do I need to change just because this is what they're looking at? I mean, there's just so much cat and mouse involved. I do think he is, as we know, we've talked a lot about what great defensive coaches can do to an offense. Alabama, as we all know, has shown a lot of chinks in the armor recently. He was part of that. obviously they get to be at home. And Alabama's got so much to prove here, so much to play for. That's got to be a factor. And to me, I guess that's why they're being picked to win.
Coach Bill Clark joins us here on the Higginbotham Hotline as we're previewing Alabama and Oklahoma coming up. You know Brent Venables very well. We go back to what took place in Tuscaloosa, forced the 3 turnovers. Just in regards to Kalen DeBoer going up against him, again, we always hear that a lot. It's very difficult to beat a team twice in a season. We saw Kirby took care of business his second go-around against Kalen DeBoer this year. Just your thoughts on what kind of adjustments Bama needs to do, I guess on a 30,000-foot view in regards to trying to get a better response out of their team against Oklahoma.
I think the age-old question is, what do you do when you're trending up and what do you do when you're trending down? And Alabama's been trending down. I mean, I say that because I don't think they have been defensively. I think they have offensively. And in this world, you got to score. I mean, you got to score. Now, I'm a defensive guy and love defense, but you still got to score. So, can the ship get righted? Can they get some of those injured guys back well? What changes are they making? We've talked about running game. You're going against a really good defensive coordinator. Just things like we talked about, exposing the running back in protection by putting him on a linebacker or a big safety nickel, I should say, big DB. And they've been losing that battle over and over. So it's not just that you hadn't been running the ball. You've been struggling in pass pro. And I'm going to be interested to see how that's handled.
Coach, if there's a stat line that we can point to after the game and say, well, this is going to tell the story, I know that there's many, but is there one in particular you look at right now heading into this game that says, yeah, that's going to really tell the story on Friday?
Well, and I say this, I've been saying this for as long as I've been talking, is turnovers. I mean, and so people don't, and a ball can get tipped, a ball can get punched out now. We're seeing more punch outs of footballs. It's going to come down to turnovers. It's going to come down to explosive plays, as we know on both. Do you give them up? Do you prevent them? But I think the things within the game, if Alabama, comes out throwing the ball, which I would suggest, I would say you start out throwing, which lends you back to the run game. But I mean, we're going to see what Alabama's offense does against their defense. I think Alabama's been playing good defensively, and of course, for God's sakes, you can't give up a punt getting blocked. As they did last week.
No, you cannot. The Coach Bill Clark, presented by our friends at Donahue Chevrolet, DonahueChevrolet.com for your holiday shopping deals this holiday season. And joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, you look at the Michigan situation and how just toxic it is. And I hate that we have to address this, but the Michigan side of things, they certainly feel like Kalen DeBoer is a viable candidate until he's not. Just outside looking in, not knowing anything else, just been reported. It's just hard for me to imagine, Coach, selling that to your family, going and taking that job just with all of the unknowns. What do you see from your seat?
Yeah, I think there's one question about is there any mentality that because there's such high expectations at Alabama, we've always said the person that replaced Nick Saban, is there something there that just says, wow, it's just beyond the pale of what a family can withstand? And I'm not saying that. I don't say that's the case, but that would be the only factor that I could see, I'm having to replace a living legend and, I could go somewhere and, I don't know. I don't know if that would even be a factor. That would be the only thing that I could foresee because there's nothing that Alabama's not providing or giving you that Michigan could, that I could see.
When you look at some of the other matchups that we have with SEC teams, of course, Georgia getting the bye, but you've got Ole Miss, that rematch with Tulane. It was a 35-point margin of victory the first time Lane Kiffin as the head coach. Now it's Pete Golding. You've got Texas A&M hosting a talented Miami team. Of the matchups that we have, what's the most intriguing to you, Coach?
We just talked about one of them, but I think Miami, Texas A&M, I think Miami's just been kind of a mystery. There's been times, remember earlier in the year, I was like, man, this team, quarterback's playing great. They're talented all around. I think they got a purpose. And then who is this Texas A&M team? That they found a way to lose to Texas at the end of the year and should have got beat by South Carolina. Are they trending down? So that's the game I'm really very intrigued by.
Coach, talk about Donahue Chevrolet all the time, but you can find them. They're in Fort Payne, but they make it easy. It's right there at your fingertips. You can go to DonahueChevrolet.com, and right now you got all kinds of great deals, whether it's the big trucks or the great selection of other cars, trucks, SUVs that they have there at Donahue.
Yeah, I think big thing, I think you got all the different holiday Christmas deals that they put out there with service people and students, et cetera, and they're going to treat you right. They got great selection with their Chevy vehicles, so go check our friends out at Donahue.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it as always, and we'll have plenty to talk about, I'm sure, next week. Happy holidays to you and your family. Merry Christmas as well.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you and all the listeners.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. The coach, Bill Clark, presented by our friends at Donahue Chevrolet, DonahueChevrolet.com on the Higginbotham Hotline. We continue here. Your text, your phone calls are welcome as we broadcast live from Social Taco in Homewood on Jocks. We continue live here from Social Taco. There's Gringo looking dapper, as always. Hanging out with FSU Dave and others. You can join us every Tuesday here in the Taco Terrace. Always tell you about our friends at Mandu, the holiday season, whether it's a gift for you, gift of health, or a gift to a loved one. You can find it there at Mandu. It's electrical muscle stimulation fitness, located conveniently in downtown Homewood. They put you in a suit, hook you up to machine, electric pulses to various muscle groups. You can tailor-make your program. It's not hard to do, and it doesn't hurt, but you will get results. Promise you that. Mandu, your first visit, they will put you through the workout. It's a 15-minute workout, the equivalent to 6 hours in a gym. Mandu.com, MANDUU.com. Always tell them Landrum from Jock sent you. That sound means there's breaking news here on the show. For more, Pat Smith is standing by at our breaking news table.
Is this what this is?
That's a table.
It's a dinner table, right?
It's a table.
We kind of referenced this about 30 minutes ago. There have been some heavy rumors this morning about coaching carousel talk in the United Football League. And it comes right here on our own doorstep. The Birmingham Stallions posted this moments ago that Skip Holtz is stepping away as the head coach of the Birmingham Stallions. I do have a quote here from Skip Holtz. He says, "Coaching the Stallions has been one of the great honors of my career. I'm grateful for the players, staff, the city of Birmingham, and our passionate fans who helped create such a special and winning culture. What we accomplished together is something I'll always treasure. I am not retiring. This is simply the right moment to pause, reflect, and look ahead. I'm excited about the next steps in my journey and energized by new possibilities. I look forward to seeing where this path leads." Skip Holtz. On a personal note, everyone that listens to this show knows the affinity that me and Landrum have for Coach Skip Holtz. Skip Holtz is someone that we consider a friend, someone that has joined this program on a weekly basis, each and every week on this show, and was very honest about the league, about the personnel, and about their striving for excellence with the franchise. And I will miss those weekly conversations. Not really sure where the Stallions are going to go from here. You have to question if this is a situation where Skip Holtz pretty much said, hey, look, we need to go in a different direction because maybe they want to go hire a former Alabama or Auburn player to be the head coach. Because I've seen this story before, Landrum, in so many of these leagues that our city has been home to, is that they believe that if you go out and try to fill up a roster or try to get a washed-up coach or someone that's never coached before to be your head coach, that's a very dangerous thing because at the end of the day, I'm a fan of if you win games, that's going to draw people. How many people are just going to come watch the coach on the sidelines? You know, But anyway, we'll see what happens. But this has been made official by the United Football League and
feels
the
gimmicky,
Birmingham Stallions.
if that's indeed the
it's
mindset.
It's exactly what it feels like.
Moving forward. Feels very Carnival Barker-ish. But folks here in this state, I echo everything that you said. You know how I feel about Skip Holtz, and just honored that we were able to forge that friendship and get to know him over the past few years, and what he has done for this city and bringing home championships. And I'm sure whatever – and Skip has had options to go and do other things. He chose to stay here, and he loves the city. And hopefully, I know our friendship will continue, but we'll see Skip Holtz leading a team somewhere. Not sure where that will be or what he chooses to do. But he's certainly going to have options, and that's a credit to him.
Very much so. So that's the big news that we've been hearing this morning, that was something that was making the rounds, that perhaps Skip Holtz was not going to be this year's head coach of the Stallions. Now we'll see what happens moving forward, if it indeed is going to be a former Alabama or Auburn player that will be given the opportunity to be the head coach.
Fat Joe asked a question, were the Stallions going to be living in Birmingham this year, just going to be based out of Birmingham and going to be housed somewhere else? Are they still doing it out in Texas? Is that the plan for the next season?
To my understanding, yes.
Yeah.
They built a really nice facility out there, and so I do not see them moving away from that. Obviously, a new investor. You heard the threats about Birmingham. They've gone to smaller stadiums. As a matter of fact, Protective Stadium, I believe, will be the largest stadium that will be in the UFL. So we'll see what happens moving forward, if it's a name that they potentially trying to sell more tickets.
Yep. Darren from Tennessee, random question. No Cole, Greg, Damian played sports. Any of the rest of the Jocks family played sports? I played sports, multiple sports, all the way through high school. I don't speak for anybody else, but I did.
Back to the Stallions quickly.
Yeah.
Jamar Smith just tweeted literally 2 minutes ago, the quarterback for the Stallions. It's more, just wait, ...
It's more.
Just wait, ...
It's-
Which tells me that the first bit of news was Skip Holtz not going to be the head coach. The next portion of this is going to be who the head coach is going to be.
Is Jamar still at Dunkin' Donuts in Vestavia?
I don't know.
Because
Once
I'm
you
thinking
make a
about
call.
just driving up there after the show
Getting
and
a dozen
asking him.
donuts and just
Well,
asking him.
Yeah, I didn't want to go in there. It's like when you go to a convenience store, you don't just use the bathroom. You got to buy something. So if I'm going to get this info, yes, and I will donate the donuts to whoever's outside the door. Okay.
Should
well,
we,
the name that was floated to us, and we're not going to repeat it, but
should we?
why not? Go ahead.
Or let's play a guessing game. It is a former Alabama Auburn football player
Yes.
who played quarterback,
Yes.
and he wore number 10.
Yes. And might have played quarterback in the UFL.
I think he did.
Yes. He's also, I think, served as a grand marshal of a race before.
Okay.
He was drafted originally in the NFL in the, was it 5th round?
Sounds right.
Okay. At times, he has been viewed as controversial.
Has he ever run for political office?
Define run.
Well, I guess officially file paperwork.
I don't know. Have I received a text maybe from his campaign during
Asking for
our
money?
show? Yes.
Why does Paul Feinbaum keep sending you text
I
messages
don't
wanting
know.
money?
Like, Paul,
Why does he keep doing that?
I'm the one that texts you for money. It's not the other way around. That's the way this is supposed to work, right?
So I think
So the first guest is Jake Coker. What's he up to?
I don't know what old Jake's up to.
Jake, if you're listening to the show, call in. Somebody asking, how's he going to be governor and a coach?
It's not Tommy Tuberville.
Or lieutenant governor is what they put.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, we have a guest of A.J. McCarron.
Okay. So it's guess number one.
Guest number one.
Well, let's see here. He was drafted in the NFL.
Yep.
He did play in the UFL. He did wear number 10 in college.
So Bo Nix is out.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think who else.
Who else wore number 10? And somebody says old AJ.
Bart Starr, Mac Jones. It's Mac Jones, isn't it? Just tell me. It's Mac Jones. He's given up his career with the 49ers to come back to coach the Stallions.
Why did you have to guess it so early?
Is it Reuben Foster?
It is not Reuben Foster.
Is it Stedman Shealy?
No. It is not Fran Tarkenton.
Is it Walter Lewis?
No.
I'm just giving you some.
I was just giving
Alabama
guys
players.
who wore the number 10. They didn't necessarily play at Alabama.
Oh, I was giving you Alabama players.
Yeah. Okay. So what if it was AJ?
How many season tickets do you think will be bombarded the Stallions ticket office this afternoon?
I don't know. We've kind of had mixed reactions with AJ from Alabama fans in the past. So I don't know how that would work. But this was not on my card this morning. I can tell you that.
No, it wasn't.
I hadn't heard any rumblings about it. Interesting. All right, we'll get to your text, your phone calls as well. 205-834-9450. Somebody asked, that's a good guess. Bug Guy said Patrick Nix. And actually, Patrick Nix.
Now, I would be like all behind that. You better believe it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But according to Jamar Smith, should be very interesting. As I'm still waiting on Jamar Smith to break the code here and tell us what else is going on.
That's right. 205-834-9450 on the text line. We continue live from Social Taco in Homewood on Jocks.
It is 12:30. We're live at Social Taco on this Taco Tuesday. Appreciate everybody stopping by and seeing us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock on the Taco Terrace. Typically, he joins us on Thursdays, but just because of scheduling, because it is the holidays, Brett Norsworthy is kind enough to join us today on the program. You can hear him weekday afternoons on WHBQ Radio, also on the weekends during the football season on the Ole Miss Radio Network, and they've got a good one coming up this weekend against Tulane. We'll get his thoughts on that and much more. Season's greetings, Brett. I hadn't spoken to you in the last couple of weeks because I keep being off on the same days that you're on the show. Hope you're well.
I am, and I've missed you, Pat. Merry Christmas to all. And if you can't hear Elvis, if you hear Elvis singing "Here Comes Santa Claus" and you don't believe in Santa Claus, then I don't even want to know you.
Two famous people were born in Tupelo, Mississippi, Elvis and me. So, yes,
That's
anytime,
right.
anytime we can get Elvis on, we're in good shape. All right, so let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide. They get things started Friday night against Oklahoma. This is a beat-up football team, Brett, and I know you saw the SEC championship game just like I did. Just your thoughts on this Tide team, and what do they need to do Friday night to kind of get to the second round and have a really good matchup against Indiana?
They got to play their best game of the year, and I'm trying to think when that last really well-played game was, because it wasn't at South Carolina, it wasn't in the Iron Bowl, it sure wasn't in the SEC championship game. But if they do, and I think it's in them, but I really believe, Pat, that this is the end of people. I've never subscribed to the Bama privilege stuff. But for anybody that always kind of gets that fork in the road, and we always go with Bama, if they don't come through in this game, this is the last time for it until Kalen DeBoer actually establishes and does something. And that entire sentiment around that fork in the road sentiment is from what Coach Nick Saban built. So I'm going to do it one more time. I think they will play well. And I think Friday night's game to the rest of the country will look a little stodgy, a little boring, but that's the way Bama's got to win it. I think Alabama wins the game around 17-14, 20-17, something low scoring. And if they don't, then we all wake up in the world Saturday morning of Bama's had 8 losses the last 2 years. They can't run the ball, and they've lost to Oklahoma 3 times in 13 months. And I just can't believe that to be the case. Again, I think it's the last days of the Coach Saban legacy that he built. If Kalen DeBoer can't win Friday night, then it's already over. Then it's irrefutably over and buried 20,000 leagues beneath the sea.
All right, so Brett, you have covered this conference as long as I have. We've been through a ton of coaching searches. We've been through a lot of coaching rumors, denials. You saw the statement on Sunday from Kalen DeBoer. You heard his comments yesterday. From a 30,000-foot view from you, someone that covers this conference, based on what you saw, based on what you've seen and read, do you think Kalen DeBoer is an actual candidate for the Michigan job?
His statement yesterday did not fill me with confidence. I mean, you can read something and then you can see something, and then sometimes you can hear something and they will fib to you, as I have been. But that's okay. I've been fibbed to before. I'll be fibbed to again. But especially in coaches' searches. But he doesn't look and seem nearly as happy as he was on day one to have the Alabama job, and I don't blame him for that, because he's learning that maybe it wasn't as easy as Coach Nick Saban made it look. It took a lot of really hard work, and I know Kalen DeBoer is not scared of hard work, and he's put the hours in. But we all see things on that Alabama team that did not look like it did in the Coach Saban years. We see it in sideline comportment. We see it in player behavior. We a lot of us watched that Alabama team the last 2 years, and we know full well who's not there, because he wouldn't allow it. Down to the uniform. Every single player on Nick Saban's teams, it was a uniform. Nobody had different sweatbands. Nobody had different shoelaces. Nobody had different leggings. Nobody had anything different. Nobody had a dangling mouthpiece. If you had a mouthpiece, you had it in. And we all see that. And does that matter that much? No. Has it cost a game? It has not. But everybody sees that it's not the sharp, well-drilled team that it was during that Nick Saban era. But that Nick Saban era is the reason why it stands apart with only 1 or 2 more classic dynasties in the history of the SEC is because that doesn't happen all the time. That's how unique and how special he was and he is, and how great he was. He made the hard look easy.
So, Brett, and it's hard for you to speculate. We can't get inside of the mind of Kalen DeBoer, and maybe he stays put. But if he were to leave from Michigan, some of those things you might have just outlined, but what do you believe the reasons would be, whether he admitted them or not?
I just think the mountain was too tall. And during that SEC game, Landon, for the first time it hit me, I looked on my TV, and I saw Ray Perkins and I saw Bill Curry, and that's not what you want to see if you're watching Alabama football. It did not look like what people are used to. It took the third coach after Coach Bryant in Gene Stallings. It may take three. It may take four after Coach Nick Saban. It may just take one. He could win Friday night. He could win against Indiana in a 17-14, 20-17 game. He could beat Texas Tech and game plan against that high-powered offense and ultimately play in the national championship game. That all could happen, but I think the SEC game really woke a lot of people up to that's not going to happen.
All right, let's talk about the game that you're going to be on this weekend, and that is Tulane going up against Ole Miss again. The first meeting was on September 20th as the Rebels got a big 45-10 victory. They were a 12-point favorite going into that game, and Ole Miss took it to them. I know a lot has happened, including Lane Kiffin. Now Pete Golding is the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels. What have you heard? What have you seen in regards to this Ole Miss prep? And should there be any type of anxiety for Ole Miss fans going into this game against the Green Wave?
I don't think there should be. I don't think the margin will be 35 like it was in September. And we were scared to death of that game because we all have so much respect for John Summerall. I knew John Summerall was a better coach than the team we played the week before in Sam Pittman in Arkansas. And I knew he was a better coach in the team that we were going to play the next weekend in Brian Kelly and LSU. We were scared of John Summerall, and I think it was the best Ole Miss played all year. All four quarters, very, very thorough, very systematic, and took out Jake Retzlaff early in that game. He wanted no more of it and got to do that again Saturday. I don't think it'll be 35. I do think it'll be by more than the point spread, though. I don't like any of these underdogs in any of these college football playoff games, but I think Ole Miss is really ready to play. You're going to get a big, resounding, we support Pete effort on Saturday afternoon in Oxford, and Ole Miss to take care of business and then head to the Sugar Bowl. And I've had a couple challenge me on this. I have dubbed it the biggest game in Ole Miss football history. And, people want to pick out this one and that one and, a game in October. And I ask them, simply ask yourself this question. How many times have you been to a game in Oxford that if you win that game, that one game, you go to the Sugar Bowl? There never has been one.
Really good point. Brett Norsworthy joining us here on Three Man Front and joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. As for the rest of the college football playoff and how it potentially shapes up, is there a team outside of the SEC you're feeling strong about, or maybe a team that you feel like is primed and set up for a dud?
I think I feel strong about Oregon, but don't we always? And we all respect and admire and know that Dan Lanning can really coach. I think they slaughtered JMU. I think the playoffs, while I'm glad we have them, I think 12's too many, and we're going to go to 16. We're never going to go down. I don't think we need to have that much playoffs and this much postseason football, but we have it. No, I think Ole Miss will do well. In fact, I will tell y'all, in my college football playoff bracket, I went the extra mile. This is kind of my ain't scared prediction this week. I do have a game, but my but my bracket is I've got an Ole Miss Alabama final.
Oh wow! Okay, I think a lot of people in our audience would love to see that. That would be.
And I'm saying my prayers every morning and every night when I go to bed for it.
Now, one way or another, I would like to ask you in regards to the transition from when Lane Kiffin was named the LSU head coach and those that have come back to coach on the offensive side of the ball. We saw something this morning that maybe Joe Judge is going to be on Pete Golding's staff moving forward after this bowl season. What can you tell us in regards to how that has worked out? Has it been as seamless as it seemed from the outside as those guys come back to coach the offense?
Pat, it has been. It's been pretty good, and they're all very, very professional and friends. Excuse me, and want to win this game. Joe Judge has done a great job all year. He's really the coach. Excuse me, responsible for Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. So that will be interesting to see how the quarterback is able to go there. Well, I know it's the playoffs, but any I ain't scared bold prediction?
I feel like we already got one with the prediction of the matchup.
Yeah,
right.
I got the matchup, but I do have a game, and I got there with Army last week, so I'm 10-7 on the year. Always take underdogs, and I'm going to take one on Monday afternoon. Nothing says the holiday season like the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, and I'm going to take Washington State to hammer Utah State. Get that 2.5. You don't need it, but take it if they give it, especially this time of year. Somebody gives you something, say thank you and Merry Christmas and accept it. Take that 2.5. Washington State wins big, and I love Washington State after how great they were in Oxford. Some of the best people and best fans I've ever been around in sports.
That is some great stuff. Brett Norsworthy, you can hear him this afternoon on WHBQ Radio, also part of the Ole Miss Radio Network as they get ready to host Tulane coming up on Saturday afternoon. Brett, happy holidays. Always great to talk to you. Obviously, we will not speak to you next week because of the holidays, but we'll catch up with you in a couple weeks.
You got it. I'm sorry I was so phlegmatic. I left my voice in Starkville, and I still can't get it back.
No problem, buddy. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brett.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Brett Norsworthy joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
We continue live from Social Taco in Homewood. Plenty of college football news to get to as we continue three-man front, the Tuesday edition on Jocks.
Always appreciate Brett Norsworthy joining us, WHBQ Radio in Memphis, the Ole Miss Radio Network. Wouldn't that be something, Ole Miss and Alabama? Making it all the way, playing each other?
Yeah, that would be
CFP?
something. What would that do to Lane Kiffin? Because I know he's wishing them the best and he's saying all the right things. That would serve him right, though, right? Are you going to recognize him in the future as getting a team to the college football playoff?
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering.
Yes. Do you not?
I guess you have to.
So Ole Miss was
Ole
Miss was a 12-point favorite the first time they played Tulane, easily covered. They're a 17-point favorite coming up this weekend. So all the changes at Ole Miss, they're 5 points better in this game against Tulane than they were on September 20th.
Yeah. Ole Miss, that's really the intrigue for me. What does this team look like with new leadership and how much that they've been through? But everything I'm hearing out of Oxford, it's all positive. We'll find out when toe actually meets leather. But, man, if Ole Miss was able to make it to the college football playoff championship, all about matchups at this point, right?
So one of the names that has been thrown out along with Kalen DeBoer for the Michigan job is Eli Drinkwitz. Sam Webb, the publisher of the Michigan Insider, joined the show yesterday. He told us that Eli Drinkwitz is a name of interest. And I believe Mizzou is having a presser today with the players as they get ready for the bowl season. And Ahmad Hardy was asked if other teams have been interested in him or potentially trying to poach him away from Missouri, talking about Hardy, not his coach, but talking about Hardy. And Hardy says, they know I'm a Tiger, so they ain't hit me up, end of quote. But it just got me thinking, because if Eli Drinkwitz did take that job at Michigan, could you imagine if you have Underwood as your quarterback and Ahmad Hardy as your running back
Is
at
Justice
Michigan?
Haynes still there?
I don't know what his eligibility is.
I don't either. But, yeah, that'd be something. I know that Ahmad Hardy, just kind of knowing the details of his recruitment after he finished his first year at Louisiana Monroe, being closer to home, that was important to him, given his options. Now, that might have changed. I don't know what that dynamic looks like now. But, yeah, that would be something. I just keep going back to what if it all happened and Pete Golding wins a national championship. I don't know why that just hit me. But Pete Golding wins a national title this year.
I think they would be putting a statue of Pete Golding outside of Vaught-Hemingway Stadium.
Not only that, but if DeBoer left, would Pete Golding be the favorite to replace him?
I don't know, but wouldn't it be ironic? It was just talking about Justice Haynes. So Justice Haynes does have another year of eligibility. So you're talking about an individual that left Alabama because Kalen DeBoer came to Alabama and went to Michigan, and then Kalen DeBoer ends up at Michigan. Would that not be something?
Yeah. Were you surprised Brett's reaction when you asked him the question about Kalen DeBoer? I was a little bit.
Yes and no. I do know that he was texting me during the Alabama-Georgia game at the SEC Championship, and let's just say that some of the things he saw disturbed him from an Alabama perspective. And so, no, I don't. And he mentioned it on the show. I'm not telling anything out of school, but him making the statement that he's sitting there watching television and you see certain things that remind you of Ray Perkins and Bill Curry on the sideline.
Yeah. I knew where he was coming from there.
I know Brett was not a fan of going for it from your own 10-yard line and doing the play that they had called.
Yeah. I agree.
So, but that's one man's opinion.
It is. It is. A lot of your opinions coming in, 205-834-9450. And JD in Birmingham is asking, why are the Bammers so nervous about DeBoer leaving?
I'll be honest with you. I don't sense a lot of angst from Alabama fans about him leaving. I'm not saying that they want him to leave.
Well, he goes on to say, you could take my 5-year-old granddaughter, Eva Landrum, and Pat should be able to be successful as a head coach at Alabama. Now, being an Auburn fan, I'll say this. If you got the head coaching position in Alabama, why would you want to leave to go somewhere else? Not enjoying your stay, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that it could be. It's not a lack of resources. Now, maybe the NIL or the funds, I'm sure, based on what I've heard, Michigan, they got more money. That doesn't always equate to championships, though. Maybe just not what you thought it would be.
But if it's not,
why?
And I mentioned this yesterday. Why do you say what you said like a week and a half ago with Charlie Potter? Correct. Why did you send out a statement Sunday afternoon, and why did you do what you did yesterday at the press conference? If there was a slim chance that you're interested in something else. Because as I mentioned yesterday, you basically say the following. The season is still going on. I am not addressing any of this until the end of the season. When we're putting the footballs up, when the season is officially over with, I will have that conversation. But I'm not talking about it. End of discussion. And you can keep prying and you keep saying, well, does that mean you're not going to be the head coach next year at Alabama? No, I'm not saying that. I'm telling you that I am 100% focused on this football team and what we need to do to win a national championship at Alabama. Yeah. And until they tell me that we're not eligible to win that national championship again, I'm not talking about it. You can get mad at me. You can say whatever you want to, but I'm not talking about it. But instead, he's talked about it. And so now, if you go back on that, then a lot of people are going to have a problem with that.
Well, and here's the thing, too. You can deny it. You can say you're going to be here, and you can absolutely mean it. But at this point, because of previous coaches and what they've said, nobody's going to believe you anyways.
No, circumstances change, and I understand that. It would just be better if he would have simply said, I'm not talking about it. I have a contract at the University of Alabama through 2031. Why do I need to have this conversation? I'm not talking about it. Just and be done with it.
Somebody say maybe DeBoer just likes snow. Maybe so. Let's see. Yeah. This one reads, that's what Lane did and got hammered for it. Did Lane at one time, wasn't there a report while he was still the coach at Ole Miss, and this was the tail end of the season where he actually told his team at practice, I'm not going anywhere?
There was some speculation that he said something similar to that after the Oklahoma win in Norman. But I think that had to do with the Florida job.
Okay.
Not the LSU job.
So the old Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Guys, I am not going to Florida. No, LSU. Maybe so. Interesting. Yeah, somebody's saying it sounds like Lane Kiffin. Do not think that Coach Saban is going to be the next coach of the Stallions. How about Joey Jones? Hope Coach is doing well. Someone saying if it is AJ, that I'm not going to go there. All kinds of rumors. Who's going to be the Stallions' next head coach?
Pretty amazing what Skip Holtz did in Birmingham. He won 3 USFL and UFL championships. He says in a statement he is not retiring. I do know that there was some interest by some folks here in Birmingham about potentially the UAB opening before they decided on Alex Mortensen. So, Skip Holtz, I'm sure you and I will talk to him very soon.
Yep. Busy 1 o'clock hour. Stay with us.